Would you like to learn how to cure your depression in just 5 minutes? If so, stay tuned. Hello, my name is Douglas Bloch. I'm a depression counselor, author, and depression survivor. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. The title of today's talk is How to Cure Your Depression in Just 5 Minutes. Well, before we look at this provocative title, we have to start out with our normal joke. What is black and white and red all over? That's one from my childhood. Those of you who are old enough to remember would say, well, it's a newspaper. But I have a second take. It's an embarrassed zebra. All right, let's get back to this title, How to Cure Your Depression in 5 Minutes. Now, the first thing you're going to say, is this a gimmick? What is he saying? Well, actually, it's based on a New York Times article that appeared on April 13, 2018. And the article was named How Skydiving Cured Me of My Depression. And in this article, the author says that just one experience of skydiving allowed him to release his anxiety and his obsessive worries. How can this be? Well, it seems that researchers around the world are now studying the effectiveness of adventure sports in combating depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorders. Now, here's how it works. When a person is depressed, his brain is invaded by negative thoughts that basically create neural pathways in the brain that makes those thoughts stronger and stronger. You can think of these neural pathways as being like grooves in an LP vinyl record. So the way out of these negative grooves, right, these repetitive grooves over and over again, is to switch the focus of your mind into the present. Well, let's take skydiving, right? When you jump out of that plane, you have to be in the here and now, right? Otherwise, if you're daydreaming, forget it. The only thing you're thinking about is, when do I pull this parachute so I land safely on the ground? This is again why action sports are being looked at as a way to rewire the brain to help it focus on the present. This is why when I'm feeling low or anxious, I hop on my bike right up to the top of Rocky Butte. And by the time I get to the top, I can only think about one thing, getting my next breath. According to the author, the skydiving he did was particularly effective in reducing his anxiety, which he said had become a regular part of his life. He was really afraid much of the time. But then he jumped out of the plane and he said, I was afraid to reach out to others, but you know what's more scary than rejection? Jumping out of an airplane. I was afraid to take risks, but you know what's more scary than a failure? Jumping out of an airplane. I was afraid to talk to others about my depression and anxiety, but you know what's more scary than being vulnerable? You guessed it, jumping out of an airplane. And so he concludes, I survived the scariest thing I could ever imagine doing, and now I feel like there's nothing in the world left to be afraid of. Of course, if you experience chronic depression and anxiety, one skydive is not going to change your brain right forever. However, if you introduce present moment activities on a regular basis into your life, like exercising, meditating, anything that takes you out of your head, over time your brain will change for the better. Interesting to note that after the skydive, this man said, I felt more clearly than I had after this dive than I had in months. Well, when I go on an intense bike ride, maybe 10, 15, 20 miles, I also think really clearly. It's like someone swept the mental cobwebs out of my brain. So the takeaway from all this is that to help reduce the symptoms of depression and anxiety, you should try to, on a regular basis, get into a state of flow. That's what this man did when he jumped out of the plane, and I'm going to define it for you right now. It's a mental state of operation in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process of the activity. Now, I've written down some examples of flow. Any athletic activity, playing a musical instrument, painting, drawing, riding a motorcycle for the adrenaline, solving a Sudoku puzzle, or watching your favorite series on television or Netflix. As for skydiving, after I read this article, I shared it with the group and I took a poll of how many group members would be willing to jump out of an airplane to help relieve their anxiety or depression. To my surprise, all 8 people raised their hand except for me. I have acrophobia, fear of heights. You couldn't pay me $10, actually $10 million to jump out of an airplane. This is the closest I'll ever get to skydiving. This has been Douglas Bloch. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to jump out of an airplane, by the way, make sure you've got some instruction first. If you like this video, please give it a like, or you can email me, douglasbloch@gmail.com, or leave your comments in the comments section. If you want to subscribe to my channel, which I hope you do, click on the photo of me that's coming up on the screen, and you'll be taken to the subscribe page, and just click on that button. And if you want to actually get notified every time I do a new video, you can click on the bell to the right of it. And if you want to be a sustaining member of this channel, simply click on the Patreon image that comes up, and you'll be taken to that page. And if you really want to help out, tell your friends about this channel. I think it's a really cool thing. And until we meet again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Thank you.